we can finally play the game.
It is the third Saturday in October, and the show is on one more time in Knoxville, Tennessee.
We are live in Tallahassee, the capital of the great state of Florida.
There's no law against scalping tickets in this part of the country, and premium prices have been paid.
That's Desmond Howard going in motion on second down and 5 for Michigan, playing on real grass at Michigan Stadium. Throw it to the sideline. It is intercepted. Florida State was sitting and waiting for it, and Terrell Buckley has scored a touchdown. How do you do?
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
All the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone for the play. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California.
The throw down, he's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown, Florida! Tyree Cleveland in a miracle finish. A Hail Mary that's full of grace for the Gators.
Barkley trying to bounce it. And does escape. Saquon Barkley in the clear. Still got it. Saquon Barkley all the way to the end zone. Electric. 79 yards.
It's a 31-30 game, and what does Nebraska do?
I have not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. He's decided to go for 2 and take his shot at winning. I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
And if in 48 seconds they become the winner, they certainly deserve to be national champions.
Here come the Seminoles of Florida State, one of the great traditions in college football, and this becoming one of the nation's favorite rivalries. It's a battle for flagging rights and recruiting advantages in the state of Florida as the Gators come calling, and Chief Osceola ready to get it started. College football. A matchup from the state of Florida. It's the Gators against the Seminoles on an overcast day in Tallahassee.
Moody flush, throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it.
Today, we've got number 1 Seminoles against number 2 in the capital city of Tallahassee.
Yeah, the armchair quarterback. He's kind of fun and he's kind of fat. The all-American man with a cool one in his hand.
Good morning, Vietnam. How are you guys? I'll get everything fixed on the screen here in a second. Got to change the look here in 1 second. How are you, Joey? How are you, Tones?
I'm doing pretty good. It's brisk here, one of the first real cold days here, but that's what the Big Ten country is all about. And we'll see what happens today with, of course, some of the big games. I know some people might look at this schedule and don't see maybe all the prime matchups as we did over the past couple of weeks, but we got some big games today that mean a lot. There's plenty of college football, World Series, NBA. Let's go. I'm ready to lock and load.
So when you say brisk, what are you calling brisk?
I don't know, I would say it's probably about in the 40s right now. 39 degrees to be exact.
Okay, so colder than hell to those of us here in Braves Country. Tones, how the hell are you?
Good. I just finished the Carmel. Feel like USF head coach Alex Golesh smacking my mouth around right now. So my apologies if
You were at a carnival this morning?
No, I ate a caramel.
Oh, caramel. Okay, I thought you said carnival.
One of those apple caramel things. 'Tis the season, right?
Yeah, I guess. If you eat that junk, I can't Are you talking about the apples that are dipped in the caramel?
Yeah, but like the sucker version, you know how there's like those little suckers, the green ones with the caramel on the outside or whatnot. It's like one of those, but condensed pretty much. But felt like USF head coach a minute, smacking my lips around. Felt a little rude out there. So good to be with you gents talking some football.
Let's get it out of the way before we get any further.
Get it.
I know you've had a rough week in general, but how do you feel about your Buccaneers right now?
It's one of those things where backs are up against the wall. You look at the last couple of games and you wonder what went wrong, and a lot went wrong, quite frankly. You knew Buffalo on a Thursday night was going to be a really tough task before the year. It looked like a little bit more of a winnable game heading into that game with how Buffalo's played. But once again, Tampa's offense seemingly sputtered out a little bit, and they dropped 3 in a row. And now their season's kind of on the line the next couple of weeks. You have winnable matchups. You have a date with the Texans next week and then a date with the Titans the following week at home. So you have a chance to rewrite the ship a little bit, no pun intended. You could pick up a couple of victories, but at the end of the day, a lot's wrong with this team right now, especially on the offensive side of things. You have Baker Mayfield missing open targets. You have the run protection not blocking as great as they can be. You have a lot going wrong offensively. And until some of those problems get fixed, it's going to continue to hinder not only the offense, but it's going to put the defense and special teams in bad spots as well. And now you got a ball club with their back up against the wall. You really played an ugly one against Atlanta. I was at that game last Sunday. That's one you got to win if you want to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, man, I felt bad for you being at that one. I mean, that was rough.
It was, and now I'm 0-2 on flying out to Tampa for the year. So I don't know if I'm bad luck or whatnot, but at the end of the day,
keep your ass at home and do some radio shows. That's what I say.
Me and you will roll next Bucks game. But at the end of the day, you can understand the losses to the Eagles, the Lions, and even on the road against Buffalo. Atlanta's a very good team. If that game's in Atlanta, it makes a little more sense. But for the Bucks to play that bad at home with the division on the line, you must wonder if there's coaching malfunction going on as well. So it needs to get better before it gets worse, and you need a win Sunday or else this thing could turn into a prolonged losing streak.
Joey, real quick, before you go to bail at the top of the hour, stick around because we're going to get the underdogs, the locks. Everyone's going to be here at the same time. Okay. So we're going to go in order. I've got the locks and the underdogs updated, the list updated. I'll put it on the screen. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. I knew it wasn't good, but it's really bad this year. But I've got it updated, so we will go in that order. Looking at it, Joey, you're leading the underdogs, so you'll actually be picking last today.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I'm ready for all the picks. I'll stay in here for it. I'm actually headed to Indianapolis tomorrow for a little Colts Saints action. So let's get it on. Let's do it all.
You poor bastards can't pick a good game, can you?
Well, when the AFC South plays the NFC South, you get what you get.
There's a whole lot of not good football going on.
I think in the whole league, but especially our two divisions.
It's bad. I mean, I'm watching a lot of Falcons and a lot of Titans games sprinkled in with some Jaguars. Has not been a fun NFL Sundays. I'm going to tell you that right now. Jaguars might be doing well, but they're not winning pretty, and it's really brutal to watch Trevor Lawrence in the red zone.
Yeah, because even a couple of weeks ago when the Colts played them, the Jags dominated that game, but they always dominate us. But I do agree. If the Jags want to take that next step, they'll win the division. They'll get their 11 wins for sure. But it's about winning playoff games. And will Trevor Lawrence be able to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes of the world? Or well, I'm not going to say Josh Allen right now because I haven't seen it all from him. But it's going to come down to Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. I think he's a good quarterback, but will he be a great quarterback when it is needed?
Saints, Colts, man, that is a rock fight.
Well, they're both 3-4, so one of them's going home 3-5. And if you
think that's ugly,
yeah, well,
follow along on your phone at the same time. Falcons, Titans.
Oh my
Woo! Supposedly, somebody has to win that game. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they tell me. That's what
Oh my! And the Panthers play the Texans. Oh my goodness! The AFC South and NFC South are battling.
The Texans game might be the most exciting one of the bunch.
Yeah, but they play the Panthers though.
I know they do. That's my point.
Oh, you're saying they're yeah? I give you okay.
I'm just saying, man. This is a brutal division. What a time to be alive! Watching football in the AFC and NFC South.
God bless the AFC.
We are far removed from the days, which is just a couple of years ago. Buccaneers were heading to Super Bowls. The Titans were 1 seeds in the AFC. Now, here we are.
Drew Brees was still around. You know, you had a lot going just 3 short years ago, and now
told you just a couple of years ago, Tones, that I was going to have Will Levis behind center. You were going to have Baker Mayfield. Joey was going to have Gardner Minshew. We probably would have shut the damn show down.
We're covering tennis. Thanks for tuning in.
They keep talking about, like, you know, an uptick in the reoccurrence of COVID showing back up. I think our show has COVID. Like, the AFC and NFC South. True story.
This year.
This year for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, if y'all went to sleep early, and understandable so, because they have got to do something about these World Series games. They're taking way too damn long. All they did was go up and down and brag about how they had taken all this time off the clock, right? That game last night lasted 4 damn hours. It is brutal to watch, and I really do believe that they have a it's hard to detect because Fox is not showing a clock on the screen, but it feels like that these pitchers are taking longer than 30 seconds in between pitches.
I know that was a rule talked about at the beginning. If they were going to keep the pitch count around for pitch clock around for playoffs, and they said, yes, we are. And like you said, it doesn't seem like they are right now, at least. So these games are dragging long. I'm not going to lie. It was hard for me to keep my eyes open in extras.
It was hard for me, and I was doing the damn game. And the beautiful thing in the middle of it, what inning was that? Was that the 8th or the 9th inning? It was when Adolis Garcia was standing on second. He stole second base. I'm thinking that was probably the 8th inning because it was the 9th that Seager came up. Anyways, not important to the story. It might have been extra. Whenever the hell it was. Garcia got hit by a pitch and then stole second base. My local feed, my Fox feed, went to a commercial for 2.5 minutes. And I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on? And I'm having to look at the pitch track thing. And I see, he was hit by a pitch. And he came back just in time as he was stealing second base. So and everyone listening was like, what the hell is this guy doing? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here, we're just waiting on the rain. Anyways, the question of the day is, what is your favorite Georgia-Florida memory? I know y'all didn't grow up in Southeastern Conference football country. We got a couple of guys that will be joining us that will be able to probably, answer this a little better. But I was just wondering if you have a favorite Florida-Georgia memory.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's referred to the largest cocktail hour or the largest cocktail party in the world. So the PC police can't take that from us, that's for dang sure. But if I had to pick one memory specifically, it goes before my days. And I've actually watched a couple documentaries on this one in general. And it was called, they like to call it Herschel Over the Top, right? When Herschel Walker ended up sputtering his way into the end zone as the Georgia Bulldogs were actually losing late in that one, 21-20. And then Herschel Walker ended up doing Herschel Walker type things, said, hold him in, hold my beer. And he scored late in the fourth quarter. And Georgia went on to win that one 26-21 in exciting fashion. I'm a big Herschel Walker football fan. I watch a lot of his film from back in the day. He was really incredible in college, especially. And to me, I believe the year was 1980 or 1981. I could be mistaken, way before my time. But that memory holds strong in my heart and in my head when Herschel Walker helped take down the Gators.
Are you talking about the Run Lindsey Run game?
No, that one. I remember that one too. That was the year before.
Any of these because it happened probably about 20 years before you were born.
Well, no, I don't remember any of them, but I remember watching film on them. This one was the year after. This one was 1981.
Okay.
So Herschel Walker, I believe I have it right. He scored either as close as time expired or as time expired to help lead Georgia to victory after they were losing pretty much the whole game.
The one that stands out to me because I was a kid and I was just starting to really watch college football and get engrossed in it, and though I've never cared about the outcome of the Florida-Georgia game, I tend to so you're talking about Herschel over the top, okay, where they go. I don't think it was as time as expired, but I think there were probably there was a couple of minutes left in that ball game.
Mm-hmm.
But in 1980, the Run Lindsey Run game is the first one that I really remember as a kid, but it's very hazy because that was the one that they went on to win the national championship in. And it was an incredible game. I play the audio of it all the time where the play-by-play guy for Georgia is complaining about how he broke his chair because back then they were just in these wood boxes and he was in a folding chair, and Florida was leading the game. It was going to be a huge upset. Georgia was trailing the game with less than a minute left. And this isn't today's college football. This is 1981 where throwing the forward pass was a whole new bag of wax. And Lindsey caught the ball over the middle and took off. I think it was like 90-something yard touchdown that he went down the sidelines, and the famous call from what is his name? Run Lindsey Run, Run Lindsey Run. But as he's telling everyone that they scored a touchdown, how they're going to be partying all over Jacksonville, he's bitching and moaning about how he broke his chair. I guess he jumped up, and there's an old folding chair, like one of the classic ones, and the damn thing just broke on him. Which, if anybody remembers those chairs, he's lucky he didn't lose a finger in it or something, the way those things would snap back. The game that I remember the most that jumps out at me, just because it was the first one that I really, really remember sitting down and watching, going, okay, I'm from Jacksonville. This is Florida, Georgia. Let's watch this thing. And Georgia just absolutely just gut stomped them 44-0. And that was, I believe that was Herschel Walker's final season, if I'm remembering it correctly. But they absolutely, was it 44-0 or am I misremembering that number? Let me see. 1980. Yeah, 44-0. Georgia was number 3 in the country. Florida was number 20. It was supposed to be this great showdown. They just had, and I guess what a lot of us don't realize or didn't remember, whatever, the previous two games, the one that Tones brought up and the one that I brought up, that both of them were 26-21, Georgia beating Florida. Both of them, Georgia were in the top 5 or top 4 in the country. So we were expecting a third showdown of these two teams matching up. Remember, 82 was right around the time that Florida started doing all their wheeling and dealing, ended up getting put on NCAA violation. Because they got caught paying players, but it was in direct response of Georgia kicking the crap out of them. That game jumps out at me. And then the game I never saw because it was not televised. Florida was on NCAA violation. And back then, if you got put on NCAA violations, they took you off television. You couldn't see the game. And Florida went in ranked number 1 in the country, though a lot of people were saying they shouldn't be ranked that high because the cheating, blah, 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 blah. Georgia goes in and beats them 24-3, and they tore down the goalposts. Anyways, a little bit of Florida, Georgia. I think it means more to us that, live in this area, or if you're a Florida fan. Yes, Larry Munson, thank you, Underwater. Hunker down, you hairy dogs.
I'll go a little more recent than that because I'll let the haters hate. I was a huge Tim Tebow fan when he was obviously big at Florida. And speaking of Herschel Walker, I know in 2009, my boy Tebow ran for his 50 and 51st rushing touchdown, breaking the SEC record broke by Herschel Walker against Georgia. Tim Tebow, obviously, people love him or hate him. I was a huge loving supporter of Tim Tebow. It didn't last long in the NFL, but I followed every year that Florida was in it in college and was hoping they'd rack up the SEC. So when he was able to break a great record of a superior athlete like Herschel Walker, pretty special moment for Florida fans. That was a good stretch for Florida in time. So not only did he break the record, but he also beat Georgia that day. So my memories mostly thank to Mr. Tim Tebow. I'll do my bow down to him right now.
Yeah, and if I had to give a recent one that I was actually alive for, I would say 2020 when Kyle Trask and Dan Mullins and Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts were the underdogs, actually, although they were ranked 8. And they ended up beating Georgia by 16, I want to say. And really the last time Florida got the best of them in an upset win in the cocktail party.
Yeah, the best part about Tebow was the fact that he sucked at everything when he left.
Hey, we're just talking college here. That's why
I know. He was a hell of a wheelman for the drive-bys with Aaron Hernandez, right?
Zumba Wamo.
Hey, the truth hurts. Tebow, though, man, he I wish Florida State and Florida would have been good at the same time because he came about. Remember, Florida sucked for years, and he came about and kind of resurrected Florida. And Florida State had just come off of their greatness, and this was at the end of the Bowden era. And then by the time Florida State got rebuilt and won the national title in 2013, Florida sucked again. So the best part of the Florida State-Florida rivalry, we'll talk about this in weeks to come, but the best part of it is when they were both really good. Mm-hmm. When they were both really good, when it was Bowden and Spurrier, they were both at the top of the – because, yeah, it's one thing to say, okay, well, we ruined your season, but it's much better when both teams are fighting for it all, right? Mm-hmm. And especially as obnoxious as the Florida faithful are, it's really fun to stick it to them.
I just hope Bobby knows who Florida's playing today.
Who knows, man? This goes back to the whole argument on that one morning when I talked about how when he said he would take Deion Sanders for his head coach. Like, this is how I know you're not a real damn Gator fan. A real Gator fan would never take ever in a million. Just like no Florida State fan. No, I'd rather lose every damn game the rest of my life than have Tim Tebow on our sidelines. Oh, the riots that would ensue. Can you imagine? Derek Brooks would be getting bloody knuckled over there on the sidelines. You have to get off the sidelines, sir. Tim's trying to coach. He is not my coach. Get him off
the security guards wouldn't mess with him. They just let him do it.
Oh, and the same thing would happen. That's what Bobby didn't understand is that the same thing would happen from the Florida side. Florida comes out and announces that Deion Sanders is their head coach. I kind of like to see it just sit there and eat the popcorn and watch it unfold. Here we go. This is what we've been waiting on. Because they've been cussing Deion as long as Florida State ever thought about cussing Tebow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe
he kind of represented when Florida State became dominant. He didn't win a national championship, but he kind of set the groundwork. When he started going there and other players started going there, he set the groundwork. And remember, Florida was coming off the cheating scandal, so they were trying to build their way back.
Mm-hmm. Maybe 2028, Tebow will be one coach and Prime will be the other. Let's go.
have Tebow coach FSU and Prime coach Florida? Yeah, that
just for a 1 week thing, you know.
Dude, I'm out.
Pay-per-view.
I'm done.
Pay-per-view.
Until that gets fixed, I'd be over there just watching Notre Dame and Penn State games. I'd be like, no, I'm done, man. I'm not watching this crap. Almost said something much worse.
That will do it.
Let's get into the games today. The Florida-Georgia game. I think Florida's got a real chance of making this interesting. I've heard a lot of pundits that believe that it's a bad matchup, and I understand that part of it. I understand the argument that it's a bad matchup on the line and whatnot. And a lot of folks believe that Florida is going to just get manhandled and not be able to hang, right? But this rivalry is so different than other rivalries because it's played on a neutral site. And I know it's overkill, but I keep going back to the 2014 game when Georgia was ranked number 9 in the country, and everyone thought that they were just going to beat the brakes off of Florida. And Florida it felt like they just ran the ball up the middle every play, and they beat number 9 Georgia. Florida's unranked. They beat them 38-20. And that was one of the crowning achievements of the Muschamp era, right? Florida's defense is a sieve. We know that. But how good is that Georgia offense going to be without Bowers? I'll give the floor to y'all.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Bowers is obviously Georgia's best player, at least offensively, and he's been a playmaker. Big reason why they did win the national championship last year. I do think it makes a big difference. Not saying Georgia's mightily struggled on offense this year, but without Stetson Bennett, it's clearly taken a little step back from his seniority and his leadership in that offense. So when you lose a guy like Bowers, after you're already down your 5-year veteran quarterback for declaring for the draft after last season, I think it does hinder Georgia's offense. I don't know if it's going to be a game-changing difference, but I do think it helps Florida stay in this ball game more than if Bowers was out there playing. I really do.
What say you?
Yeah, looking at it, I mean, it is going to hurt. You're losing, I mean, one of the best players in the country. He's going to be a top draft pick. He's built like a machine, right? But that being said, each team had a bye week here. So Georgia has had time to maybe figure this out and ride the ship. I do think that Florida will come out hot. I'm not sure how long that's going to last for. It's not like Mertz has actually had a pretty good season statistically. So I think, they might be able to figure it out early, Florida. But Georgia, as this game goes on, I think they'll pretty much be able to beat up on them when it gets into the second half. Will it stay close for a little bit? Probably. But this injury after a bye week, Georgia's going to be well prepared. They'll probably pound the ball and pound it to Mr. Edwards on that backfield. So I think Georgia's just going to find a different way to manipulate the line of scrimmage and make big plays.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll give the prediction at the end of the show, but I do think there's a path for Florida to hang in there. And the longer they stay in the game, the little all the momentum, all the nervousness, it shifts to the Georgia sideline. I think the only thing that you're looking at in the game where at the very beginning, where you can make a strong argument for this, that at the very beginning of the game, you would be concerned that Florida would play a little tight trying to keep up, and Georgia could really jump out on top and get an early lead. If Florida can withstand that wave of the physicality of Georgia and realize, all right, they're not invincible, we can hang, then they better watch out. Bobby is about to join us. We're going to take a quick break. And on that note, on Florida-Georgia weekend, we are going to give you this little ditty. There's nothing that the Jacksonville, Florida area is known for better than good old-fashioned shrimp and grits. And we're going to hit the break showing you this video. Hope you enjoy, because, man, I'll tell you what, it was some good eats.
Getting hungry.
This week, we are at the largest outdoor cocktail party in the world. Florida, Georgia, 3:30 Eastern on CBS, the big game. And we are going to make a Jacksonville favorite, shrimp and grits. Let's go. Okay, so we got yellow corn grits. We're going to pour this into a bowl Nice and easy. If you don't know how to make grits, Google it. I'm not going through that, by God. If you're in the South and you don't know how to make grits, you got issues. All right, you got the corn grits. Put a little butter in there. I don't season a whole lot because the shrimp is going to have the seasoning. You don't want to over-season. Okay, the shrimp we're going to add, and what we did here is you got the Holy Grail, which is, if you first time watching the show, it is salt, pepper, and garlic salt. We added a little bit of Old Bay seasoning, as you see right there, to give it that seafood flavor. And I also added just a little bit of Lowry salt, but it's just a dash across it. There you have it. You got the shrimp, you got the grits. We're going to sprinkle some cheese across it. The cheese should melt. Now, I did put some cheese inside the grits as well and melted it across, but this is just going to make it look a little better. A little bit of parsley over the top. And there you have shrimp and grits, Florida, Georgia. And this is known as the largest outdoor cocktail party in the world. I'm going to go grab me a beer.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
Don't you understand? This pool is our bootstraps, and it's lifting us up into the middle class, dude.
Well, just accept the fact that you're white trash, all right? Take a look at yourself. You can't do backflips. You don't know karate. You're white trash.
Welcome back. And joining us today, Bobby, we took the scoreboard down for a second. Want to make sure you know. Do you know who the Florida Gators are playing this week?
It's playing the Georgia Bulldogs, yes, sir.
Hey! How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm looking forward to this game. To me, this is the game of the day. I know there's a couple of games out there that people might be a tad more interested in because of their fandom or whatever, but this is the game that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm hoping we end up with a really good a good ball game, not like some of the ones of recent memory that have been kind of blowouts.
Mm-hmm.
What is your initial instinct? Florida getting 14 points. I find it odd, and I'll put the scoreboard back up here as you answer, but I find it odd that the over-under seems a little low.
Yeah, over-under only at 49. I think you could exceed that, especially with how beatable Georgia's looked this year. I know I've said that multiple times. The only game where they've really, truly smoked someone was the Kentucky game. And granted, we lost to Kentucky, but man, with the Vanderbilt game, with other games for this year for Georgia, I worry about them, and I'm not too confident in them covering, and I haven't been much this year. So I like Florida getting 14.
You like Florida with the 14. The over-under is 49. Tones, Joey, what say you on the spread?
I like Florida with the points as well. I think that this one's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think the neutral footing actually helps both teams stay competitive, so to speak. I know it hasn't been such in recent years, but I think that begins to change a little bit this year. And I really think Bowers being out lets Florida hang around a little bit. To think that they are getting 2 touchdowns in such a game. Yes, I know Florida has flopped a couple of times this year against those bigger teams like Kentucky, like Utah, but I think today's different. I think they hang in there today. And honestly, I see this being a 1-score game. I think whoever has the ball when the game ends, that's going to be a dangerous one. I'm not saying Florida's going to win by any means, but I think they're going to push the envelope. I would love taking the 14 points with the Gators.
Well, if you do decide to take 14 points in the Gators, just put the sign-up bonus code in the chat. So you can go to Bovada today and you can sign up and get a little action on the game. I want to say it's 200% sign up, I believe. It's either 150 or 200% sign up. It changes almost daily, but there you have that. So I have teased this game because I do know that Georgia. Look, it's no secret that Florida's defense has been terrible, right? Yeah. But at the same token, it's so you know how we get the constant argument of the immovable object and the unresistible force. Well, I think this is the exact opposite. This is the object. This is the object that won't move to the force that can't stop anything. So maybe that's why the over/under is as low as it is. But I do think Georgia's going to put points on the board. I also think Florida's going to be able to move the ball. Mm-hmm. My biggest concern with Florida staying in this game and that 14 points, it seems like a lot, but I think a lot of people get a little skewed because you compare the NFL to college football. 14 points is not really that big of a spread. Mm-hmm. As long as Florida can withstand the first barrage, the first half, stay in there, stay within puncher's distance the first half, and realize they're not that damn good. I really think that there is an avenue for Florida to possibly. And look, and once you get into the fourth quarter, if you're within one score at any point in the fourth quarter, and I'm not talking about with 13 seconds left because you scored a garbage touchdown. I'm talking if you're within one score in the fourth quarter, man, all that pressure goes to the black and red.
Absolutely. And Georgia, they've looked they've looked poor in many games this year in the first half. My big concern is stopping them out of the second half. A lot of games where they've come out looking pretty slow, they come out of that second half firing and they start to run away with games. We just need to slow them down when they come out, especially if they get the ball at half.
And that's why I kind of like, I mean, we're looking at these 14 points. It's scary that a lot of us seem to be agreeing with it, but I'm going to be chomping the hands all day for a couple of reasons. I mean, you look at Florida's schedule this year and what they've done. I feel like sometimes the pundits and people on public treat them like they're a 3-4, 2-5 team. This team took it to Tennessee on their home field this season. In their last two games, averaged 40 points. Yes,
that game was in Gainesville. It wasn't in Knoxville.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They've been on their home field and taken advantage of teams. They have 40 points over their last couple of games. Is it a Georgia defense? No. But to me, Florida's gotten it together, and I know both are coming off a bye week, but I think that helps Florida a little bit more as they need this extra preparation. And I'm not going to say they're going to win this game either, look, but I think the offense is flying high. I think they're pretty confident going in. I don't think Georgia's going to take a few punches at them and they're just going to lay flat. I'm going to chop on, and I like these points in a close one.
Well, at some point, Florida's got to make one of these games close, or then you start wondering, is it still a rivalry, right?
Yeah.
And they beat them in 2020, but that COVID year, I don't take any of that junk seriously. Like everything that happened in 2020 didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So if you take the COVID year out, it's been since 2016 since Florida has beaten Georgia. And that's a stretch, and that's not the most damning part of it. The most damning part of it is most of these games have not been close.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you look at it too, like Florida really hasn't had great core. I mean, really, we talked about Tim Tebow a little bit earlier, and someone I really respect, but they haven't really had a really great quarterback. I know Anthony Richardson that was there for a cup of coffee, but they haven't had that consistent guy who was there 2 to 3 years that they could build things off of. I feel like that's played a little bit of a factor in some Florida struggles over the past decade.
I know Kyle Trask was good. He put up great numbers, but I don't want to pretend he was some great quarterback or something. I think he was a product of the weapons he had. But Mertz, I never would have imagined myself sitting here hyping up Mertz going into this Georgia game before the season started. But Mertz has looked really good, and he's played mistake-free football.
It's absolutely amazing what we can talk ourselves into as fans.
It's the truth, though. Mertz has been putting up great numbers.
12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Numbers don't lie.
He's been playing good.
Mertz has not really been tested, though. Let's be honest.
I saw a comparison. And I'm just
in week 1, he got destroyed. And everybody was ready to, I believe there were some people on the show who were ready to hire Deion Sanders after week 1, right?
Listen, that was me speaking about the coaching staff. And we can go back, roll the tape. I said this about Mertz.
Do we want to?
Mistake-free football, and that's
You
that.
really want to roll the tape?
I thought I would see worse football out of Mertz. He didn't play that. He played great. From
If
what I
we
was
had
expecting.
tape, we're going to go back to Bobby. Who the hell does Florida play this week? No, but what I'm saying is that was the only, like, what I would say big boy defense that they've played so far, right?
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Mertz. He has played better than most would have thought, but you do wonder how he's going to stand up against this Georgia defense, this Georgia front, which I would think is going to put a lot of pressure on him.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah,
it's really the
his biggest test of the season. That's no doubt. So,
if Florida,
but my hope for this game, the reason that I do have hope is because of how bad the Georgia offense is, like you were mentioning earlier.
The next several weeks is where the rubber is going to meet the road for Mertz too, not just for the Florida season, where they like to get to a good bowl game, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about for Mertz going on and proving that he can be in the NFL. He's about to play the Georgia Bulldogs. He's going to go into a very raucous environment at LSU. I would assume it's a night game, but it could be a 3:30 kickoff regardless.
Probably a night game if we beat Georgia.
Then he's going to go to Missouri. Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Yeah, Missouri team that we always struggle with.
And then he'll come home to face Florida State and then the bowl game. Now, if he upsets Georgia, who the hell knows? He might get into the SEC championship game. You never know. But the one thing that concerns me is that this Georgia team is going to want to run the ball because of Bowers being out.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time we saw that, Kentucky curb stomped them 33-14. They just ran it. And that's all they did. You go back and watch that tape. I'm sure Bobby remembers. There was nothing fancy about it.
No.
So did they fix that? If they can just say, hey, we're going to make this bastard throw. We're going to make him beat us. We're not going to let him run it down our throat. Then I can buy Florida giving Georgia a close ball game.
Yeah, we got to shut down the run because, number one, Carson Beck hasn't looked great this year. He's looked very pedestrian. And then he has his best weapon out. Brock Bowers, the best tight end in the country. He's out, and he'll be out for a little while too. So if you can stop the run, force him to pass, you have a path to victory against this Georgia team.
That's going to be the biggest question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what the ultimate looky-loo letdown game is. Dude, next week, Florida is playing a noon kickoff against Arkansas, who sucks. I'm just saying, be careful. Because if you upset Georgia, be careful with that game.
Look, I know this might sound – I don't know how this will come across, but if we beat Georgia and Tennessee in the same year, this year, with the expectations I had, I don't think I need much else.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I said the same thing last year when Florida State smoked Miami and beat Florida.
Yeah.
If they just would have won this game, like, I don't care. I don't care.
We got the wins I cared about.
I was doing victory laps before the damn Cheez-It Bowl ever took place for Oklahoma. That was just sprinklings on top. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a damn? Yeah, if you beat Georgia and Tennessee in the same year,
that'd be a great year for us, even no matter what the record says.
And don't worry about what the rosters look like. You're going to have a chance to beat Florida State because it's in Gainesville.
Yeah.
It is a huge rivalry.
Any rivalry game, I don't want to count out the other team, even though no matter how it looks.
Rivalry game where it's home field advantage, the whole 9 yards. There's been some goofy things that have happened in that series.
Well, especially if Florida if we're able to beat Georgia today, I mean, I have confidence that we can beat anybody. I know that sounds a little bit naive considering what I was saying about this Florida team before the year started. Also, but if we can upset Georgia, who else can we? Or who can we beat?
Because the last 10 minutes, you've been like, Georgia's trash, the quarterback sucks, blah, blah, blah. But if we beat them, then that really proves that we belong.
And if you look at the flip
Carson
side,
Beck is terrible.
If you look at the flip side too, on the Georgia side, I mean, they had the big injury last week. If you have a loss here, your playoffs, they can obviously still get to the playoff with a one-loss Georgia. That's foolish to say they wouldn't, but you start to worry a little bit down there. You have your best player out. You have a loss. You're still going to have to win an SEC championship before a playoff. So this is huge for Georgia today because their playoff chances, they're going to have to start sweating this out if they did lose.
So supposedly there's other college football games today. So let's go ahead and go through a couple of them.
Oh my God, it's 10:46. I haven't sniffed another game. It better be a good game.
Hey, I'm sorry, but this is the game. This is where I grew up at. I don't even have a dog in this hunt, but I just love watching this game. I'm usually pulling for the team of the lower rank but I don't really care who wins the game. I want to see the game. This is one of the first time that I can remember going, man, I wonder who the hell if Florida really can hang with them, right? So, but other games on the docket, because I'm about to go down that road again. One of the big games that no one really pays attention to, but I'm telling you it's a big game. It's a 3-game losing streak going into Winston-Salem, taking on Wake Forest. Florida State better beware. They better beware. They just had the big physical game against Duke. They're on the road. They're giving up 21. I would never suggest taking the 21 points. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. Wake Forest had the big emotional win against Pittsburgh last week. This is going to be a dogfight for at least the first few quarters. Not to mention, Wake Forest has that goofy-ass offense that you can't really prepare for. This is going to be a game that they better go in focused, because if not, it could be another Boston College. Anyone see Wake Forest pulling off the upset?
No.
I know you mentioned they just had an emotional win last week, but I think that could play in Florida State's favor because they had that emotional win. Could expect a little bit of a hangover this week. I know that, Florida State's not a team you can come in sleeping against, especially if you're Wake Forest. But, like you said, with that emotional win, sometimes that plays against the team.
Oklahoma goes to Kansas. Oklahoma's giving up 8.5 points. Oklahoma had a hell of a scare last week. Anyone see Kansas pulling this off?
No, and many reasons, but I think their offense has been sputtering a little bit lately. I know their QB's been a little bit banged up last week against Oklahoma State. So, or a couple weeks ago, I think they might have had a bye. But regardless, I think they've played incredible. I'm a big Dylan Gabriel fan. And, I think he continues his Heisman hopeful candidacy with the big win today.
Yeah, that's one of those games where I feel like the first half could be close, but then it could leak out of the way pretty badly. But what else we got?
Well, like you said, with Oklahoma having a close game last week against UCF, not a good team to have a close game with. They might come out there with a point to prove this week and really try and lay it on Kansas.
And they barely squeaked by a big win against Texas a week or so before that. So maybe last week they were, feeling themselves.
Tones, do you have any concern about Indiana today? 31-point favorites. Holy crap. Indiana falling off the damn ledge.
My only concern is keeping Drew Aller healthy and ready to roll. In a couple weeks, we got our season on the line against Michigan. I love Penn State today, and I think Indiana's been one of the worst, if not the worst team in the Big Ten so far this season. And, they've lost to Rutgers by 17. They lost to Michigan by 1 million. I don't see why Penn State can't follow suit today. And today's a big game for Penn State. They crapped their pants against Ohio State last week, which they normally do. But they could get a big bounce-back win today, a couple weeks before a big showdown with Michigan. I got Penn State not only winning this one, but covering the 31-point spread as well.
Joey, what do you like BYU Texas here? Texas is giving up 20 points at home to the BYU Cougars.
Well, first off, Indiana, fire Tom Allen. That guy's a disgrace to the college programs. That guy's a sad sack of potatoes. That's the first thing. Number two, I do want to see Texas play today. I know it probably won't happen, but Peyton Manning, I had about 40 million posters of him on my wall as a kid. We all know his nephew, Archie Manning, is the backup. He got some first-team reps this week. I don't think he'll play, but it's possible. I'm going to keep a little bit eye on BYU Texas, along with Notre Dame.
Oregon, Utah. Utah is getting 6.5 points at home against Oregon. This one is one of my favorite games of the day. It sucks that it's going on at the same damn time as the Florida-Georgia game, but it is what it is. Go around the horn real quick. Bobby, are you taking Oregon minus 6.5 or Utah on the points?
I'll take Oregon minus the 6.5. I think they get out of there with a touchdown win. I like Utah, a good team. But I think Oregon's on another level, and Oregon knows they're one loss away from their playoff hopes being out the window. They're already very slim, but one more loss and it's gone. So I don't think they play around in this one. I think they get out of there with a pretty big win.
Tones, Oregon, Utah.
I'd lean with Bobby. I think this is going to be one of those Vegas type traps where you see Oregon laying 6.5 on the road against a good Utah team. Vegas wants you to take Utah with those points at home. I think Oregon does a great job today of exploiting their weaknesses on defense, Utah, as we did see USC put up a good amount of points against them last week. And I think the over has a pretty dang good shot at hitting as well. That's only sitting around 47 points right now for a pack game. I know Utah has a good defense, but I think Bo Nix and the Ducks do bring some heat today. I got Oregon laying the 6.5. I think they win this one by 10+.
Joey, what say you?
Yeah, I like Oregon's coach. I remember when they went into Colorado and those jamokes were all over the 50-yard line. The coach had his team step up. I just saw about 2,000 Utes fans chanting Oregon's coach sucks on the television. They're going to come out today and whack Utah. I'm taking Oregon and giving up all the points.
Man, this just makes me feel like I need to take Utah. And I have no reasoning other than the fact that no one believes that Utah is going to win it. I mean, they're at home.
Yeah.
Quack.
Points. What's the over?
I don't think they're going to be able to stop Oregon.
47.5.
Oh, wow. Man.
I know.
I'd probably stay away from the over, either one. I'm either going to take Oregon on a tease, so all I need is the win. But if I was going to take the line itself, I'm probably leaning with Utah, 6.5 points in my pocket at home. Salt Lake City's a tough place to play. It's going to be 43 degrees there too. So that's kind of interesting. Could that play into how many points? I don't have the wind in front of me or anything like that, so I don't know how that plays out. It looks like we're not going to deal with any kind of precipitation or anything, but man, 6.5 points at home, have that in your pocket, because I think this game honestly turns into 17-14, 20-14 type of ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon probably finds a way to. I do believe Oregon. I know this sounds strange for a team who's ranked number 8 in the country. I do believe they're a little undervalued. I felt like that they were the better team in Washington. They just had a couple of breaks go against them, and they were on the road, the tough environment in Washington. That rematch, it can't get here fast enough. I'm hoping Oregon and Washington face off in the Pac-12 championship game, because I want to see that game, and I want to see where the line is, because I would love to put some hay on Oregon.
Well, if they were getting 7.5 in this game, I'd be a little bit inclined to give them the points, but that point difference right there being at 6.5, I could see Oregon getting down there with a touchdown win. That scares them.
Yeah, but we also see how Oregon is willing to go for 2 points at odd times.
True.
Early in the game, so your traditional score may not matter.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Joey, any worries about Pittsburgh coming in getting 20.5?
No, I don't in this one. Notre Dame's had their couple of hiccups this season. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of pressure on them with having the 2 losses. I think Notre Dame comes out today and methodically wins it through. Pittsburgh could get a backdoor cover potentially, but I think Notre Dame handles their business. Sam Hartman has a big game today.
Here's a fun one, Duke, Louisville. Now, I don't believe, unless something changes, I don't believe Riley Leonard's going to play. So Riley Leonard and the Duke Blue Devils are getting 6 points on the road. Man, to me, this feels like free money. I'm banging the Blue Devils all day long. I understand that Riley Leonard's not playing. I understand that their quarterback play is not going to be anywhere close to it if Leonard's not playing. But Duke has an entire week to game plan, and I'm telling you right now, I saw that defense up close and personal. That is an impressive defensive squad. The only thing that would concern me was the air let out of the balloon. Does Duke come in flat for this game? That would be my only concern.
Mm-hmm.
But Power 4 team right there in Louisville, Mac. Never forget it, Louisville.
I won't lie, Joey. I was questioning that pick I was like, oh, he left LSU.
I was too.
One of my Power 4 teams. Give me LSU. And look where we're at now.
Bobby, I questioned myself. It's not the first or the last.
It worked out, though. It worked out. And here I am stuck with LSU.
Stuck with LSU? LSU's not out of it, my friend.
They're not out of it, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in them.
They are not out of it by a long shot.
Let's see where they're at.
If LSU, they've got 2 losses. If LSU goes out there.
It's not the expectations I had for LSU. I thought at this point in the season, the worst, I thought they'd be 1 loss, top 10 team for sure. Wouldn't expect them to be where they're at right now.
You'll have a different taste in your mouth next week if LSU walks out of there with a win at Alabama.
If they manage to go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, fair enough. But we're looking at them being possibly 6-3 next week, likely being 6-3 next week.
They're ranked 15th in the country.
Yep.
They go in and beat Alabama. They're going to go from 15th to like 4 in the SEC network poll. Like they're all just tongue bathe them. Yeah. And LSU's going to have a real chance of not only winning the West, but if they get in there with 2 losses and they beat Georgia, Florida, whoever the hell it is in the SEC championship game, LSU will have a good chance to go to the playoffs, which seems strange and odd considering how their season began.
Mm-hmm.
But that, man, I'm telling you right now, Jaden Daniels is probably my Heisman Trophy candidate right now.
He's been lighting it up. I think Penix is probably ahead of him, but Daniels is not too far behind.
Maybe. The thing about Penix is he's going to have to run the table.
Yeah.
Look, man, that game last week absolutely took him off my number 1 slot.
I could see if Oregon runs the table, wins the Pac-12 championship against Washington, they get that revenge win. Bo Nix has been putting together a solid season. I'll just say that.
I think J.J. McCarthy is a better chance than a couple of those guys right now as well.
Yeah.
The way Michigan's been playing. I will say this, I think LSU, I know they're technically not dead yet, but I think they're dead because even if they end up making a run, they have to get to the conference championship game if they want any chance at the playoffs. I just don't see all that happening and them winning that game. I just can't see LSU making it unless they get a lot of help at this point.
All right, we're going to stop sharing the screen. Doug, I see, is in the chat. Let me just put it up like this. So we can, and I don't know where Steven is, but it's right at 11 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and start the Stupid Underdog Picks. And let me go ahead and let me put this up real quick. Let me see how this is going to work with all of us in the same room trying to show this. I mean, I'm not looking forward to showing this, but I feel like if we're going to be honest, then we need to put this on the board. Here we go. This is – it's not being shared. There it goes. Oof. All right, so there's the year-to-date Armchair Locks. Sign-up bonus is in the comments. If you want to sign up for Bovada today, here comes Steven. And you're not going to be able to see us much, but I figure we needed to be honest about our picks, where we are 10-24 on the year. Christ almighty. Oof.
Maybe we should call it the opposite of lock. This is the unlocked segment.
We'll start. Let's start with the Stupid Underdog Picks. So that's what the SUD stands for. Didn't want to put that whole thing out. And I guess you can't see everybody. So I guess I'm going to need to leave it like that so you can see everyone's. So we go with the worst team gets the first pick on the Stupid Underdogs. Good night, almighty. It looks like Bobby.
I'm wondering how I ended up with minus 14.
Because every time you don't show up and every time you get a loss, it's minus 2 points.
Didn't know about the show up part. All right.
Same here.
I'll start us off with a Stupid Underdog pick. And I'll go to the NFL. I'll go to the NFL for this one. It's a little bit of a safer pick, I think, than I was thinking Florida, Georgia, but I want to go with something I feel a little bit more confident in, try and make up that deficit. Give me Commanders, +7 at home versus the Eagles. This is a Commanders team that has pulled off a lot of upsets in the last couple of years, especially against teams they have no business beating. I could see them at home in a division rivalry game.
Does someone have the NFL lines in front of them for what we take it off of for the ESPN scoreboard?
I'm pulling up. I don't have ESPN. I'm getting Caesars up right now. That's what they use.
That's okay. I'll get it. So you're taking Washington? 7.
Yeah, they're they're +7 on ESPN.
Gotcha. Yep. I got it now. We're good to go. All right. So who comes after Bobby? Stephen Trosch. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with the team that I would have taken last week had I been here. Give me Utah. I think they're +6.5 over Oregon right now. They came through as 7-point underdogs last week, beating USC. I see it happening again this week. They take down Oregon.
Wow. Tones, you got the next pick, my man.
Yeah, so far I think I've only hit Florida International and Wyoming as far as stupid underdog picks go this year. So I got to get going a little bit. I do like a little shady game when you're at home. I like the home cooking a little bit. I like getting the points at home. I do like the last game of the night tonight.
Of course.
Midnight Eastern time. Hawaii's getting 10.5 at home against a beatable San Jose State team, and that one's on CBS Sports Net. Give me Hawaii getting the 10.5 at home tonight.
All right. So then we've got Doug. I'll let you go first. You and I are tied.
Okay. My underdog. I'm loving the Duke Louisville. I love Duke to win this game today.
Duke, and what is the number right now that we have? Is it 6?
Let me see.
6.5. I think.
6.
6.5.
It says 6 here on ESPN, but if it's 6.5, okay.
All right. Well, I can't believe no one took this, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Give me the see what the number is right now. See, it has not changed. Give me the Florida Gators +14. They got a chance to shock the world.
Well, you're tied for first.
Rivalry, man. I'm telling you, the team that the better team doesn't always win this game.
It's true.
And then we got Joey. Joey, what you got?
Yeah, let me say in 1911, the first. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you're on a heater. You've picked 2 underdogs in a row.
And that's why I'm about to tell you guys a little history lesson here. In 1911, the first aviation force was during the Italian-Turkish War. Why do I bring that up? Air Force today, undefeated, going on the road. Nah. The Air Force ain't flying high today. Colorado State +14.5 is going to beat them straight up. And down goes the Air Force Academy. Don't hold it against me for those who served. We love you.
I give Colorado State a much better chance of winning if Dion was coaching Air Force. But can you imagine that clown trying to coach a military school? He'd have his own players straighten him out.
Oh boy!
Tuck your damn shirt in. Take your glasses off, sir. All right. So now we go to locks, and we'll go to the worst. All right. So it's kind of Tones. What's your lock?
Yeah, if you want to call it a lock at this point. I mean, my goodness, this is get into dire territory.
No further notice, these will be called our lucks. What is your luck?
This is getting into dire territory for me, but I'm going to go ahead with the Nittany Lions laying the 31 points against a bad Indiana football team. I think Penn State's due for a big bounce back. They lost a really disappointing one last week. Penn State is indeed home today as well. I think they're going to make Happy Valley some happy campers today. I got Penn State laying the 31 points in this one to try and get me on the board here, it seems.
All right. Doug, what's your luck?
My luck is take Notre Dame the 20 points. They're going to pound on the University of Pittsburgh today.
Yeah.
The good thing about this, if you just go the opposite direction, you're making good money, right?
Yeah.
So what we're hearing is take Indiana, take Pittsburgh. See who would be next here. Bobby, what you got?
I'm going to go with Texans-Panthers over 43.5 points. Stroud's been lighting it up this year. I think defenses are a little bit suspect, especially for the Panthers. I think this game goes over that. And Stroud, there's a little bit of a revenge factor since he was picked number 2 behind the Panthers, and he's been killing it this year. He's going to have a point to prove. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Trosch, what is your lock of the week?
I'm going. I'm not sure what you have the line at. I got Seahawks minus 3.5 over Cleveland. No Deshaun Watson again this week. PJ Walker show. Jerome Ford is. I'm not sure if he's gonna be, I know I got hurt last week. I'm not sure if he's gonna be playing or not. I just don't think that the Browns can keep it up. So, Seattle's been looking really good this year. I think the home field advantage, they should be able to cover that 3.5 points easily.
And Joey, what say you?
Yeah, that was my lock as well, but I'm going to change gears here as I don't think PJ Walker could use the same money Watson did for his masseuse lady, so he won't be paying the refs this week like he did last week in Indianapolis. That being said, I'm going to change my lock over, and I'm going to go with the oh man, this is hard to say. Screw it. I'm going to take the Eagles going on the road to the Commanders. I'll give up the 7 points. I think the Commanders' good football for the season is behind them. Ron Rivera's last season is right in front of his face. Eagles minus 7.
All right, my lock. Man, there's some college games that I like, but I'm going to go to the world of the NFL. I just believe that this line is wrong. San Francisco is giving up 5. Give me the Bengals plus 5. I just feel like that's going to be a real nip-tuck game. And I do believe that the Bengals are starting to play a little better football. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull off the upset, but I like their chances getting 5 points. It's past that critical number, as they say, in the world of football. Before we say goodbye to Joey, what is your one big thing? But before you answer that, I've got your tall boy question.
Oh, boy.
Today, you're going to be checking out some college football, and my question to you is, at night, what is the game you're going to be locked on? Because we don't have a great slate at night. You got Tennessee, Kentucky, you got Ohio State, Wisconsin, and I guess some people could say Colorado, UCLA, but that's really stretching it. What's the game that you're going to be watching tonight?
I'll stick in SEC country and go with Tennessee and Kentucky for a couple of reasons. Both teams are 5-2. I know with 2 losses, you're not looking at the playoffs in that regard, most likely. But, hey, you got a battle to try to get in the SEC. And both of these teams, it's a must win. You lose this game, to me, you're pretty much a mediocre program in the SEC for the season. So that's the game I'll be locking into on ESPN tonight at 7 o'clock, Tennessee and Kentucky. Wildcats.
What's your one big thing?
My one big thing is I hate the Saints. I can't stand many teams more in the National Football League than the New Orleans Aints. Not only are they a rivalry of Tone's Bucks, but they beat my Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl thanks to Hank Baskett and an onside kick that was foolish. That being said, I'm going to the game tomorrow. The Colts are going to get the win, and Derek Carr, he might get benched after this week. I'll see you all next week. Nice to see you.
All right, brother. Good luck and be safe.
Thank you. Always.
All right, we're going to take a really quick break, reset. When we come back, we're going to talk some more football lines. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show. Keep it locked in.
Well, the season's finally here.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles Veneer Special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
She's a 10, but her favorite football team sucks.
That would more than likely make her a Florida Gators fan. Go Dogs.
Well, if you stand and block the screen, you may
Bobby had to play that for you one more time.
It's a good sound, but
It is the day. It's Florida Georgia game. We've given our takes on it. I don't know if Tones is. Anyways, we'll wait for him to reappear. Steven, Doug, Florida's getting 14 points here in Jacksonville. Do you like the Gators or do you like the Bulldogs on that line?
Why don't you go, Doug?
Oh, I was just going to say, I like the Bulldogs on the line. This game, the hatred between these two in this particular game in Jacksonville, and as good as Georgia is, I think it's going to be a long night for Florida tonight.
Steven?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch much college football last week, but judging by the texts that you and Sean were sending me about Graham Mertz, I don't think this is going to be a good week for Florida. I'm going to go what did you say, Lana? Was like 14 or 20, somewhere around there?
Yeah, it's like 14 and a half, I think.
14, yep.
It's 14-point spread right now.
Well, like if you can find an alternate spread up to like 28, go do it for the Georgia. Bulldogs are going to roll tonight.
I mean, Florida's last game, Mertz actually pulled their ass out of the fire, to be honest with you. Now, their defense giving up 39 points to South Carolina, that's the concerning part of it. To me, that's the biggest concern. If you're going to give 39 to South Carolina, what are you going to give up to Florida? Bobby, what is the score of this game?
Look, I know I've been kind of singing my praises about Florida and talking about Georgia's weakness, but I wanted to make it interesting. Ultimately, I do think Georgia wins. I think Florida covers. I'm going to say 31-21 Georgia.
Doug, what say you? What's the score?
Oh, I'm looking like a 48-14.
Wow. That was the exact score I had in mind. 48-14.
All right, well, I think Florida's got a puncher's chance just because this is a weird rivalry. I have no other reason for it.
Yep.
I've got Florida. Look, I picked him as the stupid underdog pick, so I might as well go all in and push my chips in. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I really like the over in this game more than anything else. I don't think Georgia's going to slow down the Florida offense. I also don't think Florida's going to do a whole lot to stop Georgia. My biggest concern with Florida is how much clock does Georgia eat up when they have the ball. But give me the Gators to pull off the upset. It's going to be a weird score. Give me 32-30. Florida storms the field. There's a lot of arrests in Jacksonville, Florida tonight. Hey, there's Tones.
Hey, I heard arrest and I had to pop in.
Put your hands up.
Look, if we can stop the run, force Carson Beck to throw the ball, especially without Brock Bowers, if he makes a few mistakes and then we play mistake-free football, I think there's a path to victory.
I like I wonder where Tony is with, because normally this is the time of the week. I guess he's dodging us today. This is usually the time of the week where he pops in the chat and says, if we play a clean game, we're going to be fine. We play a clean game, we're going to be fine. He said that right before Utah and right before Kentucky. So he's not saying that this week. So maybe he doesn't put the kibosh on. I did. My other thing with this would be, and this is going to have to happen for Florida to win. They've got to win the turnover battle in a big way. Absolutely. Meaning they've got to get 2 more turnovers than Georgia.
Yeah, and we've seen when there's been big upsets this season, or games that have come close to being big upsets, it's always because the heavily favored team has made some bad mistakes. And when if Georgia makes those bad mistakes, we got to capitalize on them, and we can't make any mistakes ourselves. If we keep giving the ball back up to them, we have no chance of winning.
It looks like we're going to get beautiful weather here, so that should not be a factor. And honestly, for late October, it's going to be kind of warm here as well. So I don't think that favors either team or hurts either team, but it is something to keep an eye on. Game time temperatures are expected to be in the low 80s. They're not expecting precipitation. I don't think the wind's going to be a big factor either. But it is one of, if not this is the best rivalry in America to me that's played on a neutral site. You can have that damn Red River rivalry crap. Whatever, dude. No one ever watches that junk. Give me Florida, Georgia every single year.
All
right. Going on to a couple of other games real quick on the slate. This is an interesting one to me. Mississippi State and Auburn. I hope that was a dog and not something worse. What the hell was that? I'm assuming that's Steven's dog? No?
I think that was Joey.
Is it Joey?
What you about Joey?
I'm going to guess it's Doug because Doug just got up and walked away. Okay.
My guard dog, just in case the cops come back.
Mississippi State, Auburn. This is an interesting spread to me. Auburn is giving up 6.5 points, but these are two offenses that don't do a whole hell of a lot and two defenses that honestly, look, I think Auburn's finally going to get themselves a conference win. They're 3-4. They win this. They get to 4-4. They're 2 games away from bowl eligibility. They're on the Plains, Jordan-Hare Stadium. But it's going to be an ugly, ugly rock fight. That Mississippi State-Arkansas game last week, I watched way too much of that. Started to make my eyes hurt. 7-3 was the score. I don't know if it gets much higher than that today. Auburn, Mississippi State. I don't know. I'm thinking I'll give y'all a score and then y'all tell me where I'm wrong. Give me Auburn to squeak this one out. 17-12.
I could see that. I don't think there's much correction needed there.
I don't mind it. I don't mind Mississippi State plus the 6.5, considering how low scoring this game is probably going to be. Chances are, because of that, it's going to be close.
I agree.
But yeah, I think it's going to be an ugly game, like you mentioned.
I agree. I pretty much second what you guys both said. I mean, not much more to say about that football game.
Take plus 6.5 and the under.
Steven, Miami's an 18.5 point favorite at home against Virginia. Think they're going to go in there smelling themselves?
I don't know why they would be. It's not like they had an impressive win last week. I honestly don't know. I have no read on what that program is right now. I do think they end up coming out with that, covering the spread at 19, but I don't think it's going to look anywhere near impressive.
So you would not take Miami minus 18.5. You would
no. I think they'll cover it, but it's going to be very ugly how they get there.
You said Miami. You're worried about them smelling themselves. I could see Virginia coming in, with a little bit of a hangover, considering the upset they pulled off last week against North Carolina.
I think you're going to see 2 flat football teams.
Yeah.
I wish the over-under was a little higher because I would love to take the under, but 47.5 in a college football game really isn't that big of a number.
I guess since good chance both teams come out flat, I'd go with the team with more talent in Miami.
What that's telling you is they believe Miami is going to win this game, 33 around the 33-17 type win, 31-17 type win.
I think that's fair, though. I think that's fair. I know Virginia pulled off that upset last week against North Carolina, caught them sleeping a little bit, but they're still not a good team. So
they're not a good team.
They're terrible.
North Carolina was smelling themselves is what that was about.
Well, like if it gives you any indication, 75% of the money is on, or 75% of the tickets are on Virginia to cover. So,
well,
yeah,
I'd say a more accurate representation of what Virginia looks like is that Week 1 game against Tennessee. They got routed. So,
well, my question would be: you're saying 75% of the tickets, but how much of the money is on Virginia?
I let me get the exact. I know for it is the money. 77% of the money, 72% of tickets. Everybody, it sounds like everyone's all in on Virginia.
It seems like a trick. It seems like one where Vegas is going to be rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
Man. Miami's going to go out there and win by 19.
That's my bet too.
On a walk-off safety.
It'll be something really goofy where if Virginia just would have kicked the extra point, but they decided to go for 2 late in the game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Any other games on the college football dock that anyone wants to go over before we hit the NFL slate?
I mean, I think we pretty much hit the big ones.
Is Tennessee covering a 4-point spread in Kentucky?
Nope.
I don't know if I trust them much on the road. I know we saw Kentucky get thrashed by Georgia, but they're still a solid team. I have some hope in them. And last time Tennessee went up against an SEC East opponent out on the road, didn't turn out too well for them, as we saw at the Florida game.
One game that lost some muster after last week, but I think NC State getting 10 at home against Clemson. I kind of like NC State to pull off the upset a little bit in that one. I don't know if they'll win straight up, but I think they're going to give Clemson a bigger fight than what people are expecting. That's for sure.
It'll be Clemson gives up.
Yeah,
because they had thoughts of playoff, ACC championship. Now they get another loss. Do they just flat out give up?
That's why I kind of like NC State. Their defense is frisky as well, and anytime you're getting double digits at home in a game, to me that's pretty even in talent. I'm liking that spread.
Ohio State, Wisconsin. That's the other big one for tonight-ish, if Wisconsin can put up a fight. It is in Camp Randall. They are getting 14.5 points. That was almost my stupid underdog, but I decided to put the hex on Florida instead.
Hey, you've been doing pretty good on the stupid underdog this year, so I wouldn't call it a hex. If I went and picked Florida, we'd get rolled. So
fair enough.
How about Arizona? 3-point spread tonight against
number 11 Oregon State.
Yeah, that a lot of people.
Arizona plays well at home too.
A lot of people are high on Arizona. They beat the brakes off of Washington State a couple weeks back. They almost beat USC in an upset a week before that. I mean, they almost beat Washington a week before that. Arizona's playing some good football now. It's a little tricky. Oregon State's been really dang good this year, but that one's going to be a really fun nightcap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man, Cincinnati has fallen off the rails, haven't they?
I tried to watch him. They have Bobby's former buddy at quarterback, Emory Jones, I believe.
He's still playing college football?
How old is he?
He looks terrible. I don't know how old he is, but he needs to call it a quits.
He's at least 60.
He looks terrible out there. I mean, I've tried to, shovel Cincy spread a couple of times this year just because.
Doug, didn't you tell me that you saw Emory Jones at your high school reunion last week?
Matter of fact, I did.
Was he chaperoning?
God, I forgot about Emory Jones. I just thought he was gone.
I did too. That name brought back some memories.
Not good ones.
Nope.
Nightmares. It is Halloween, you got to get creeped out a little bit.
Jeez.
I tell you what, with that Ohio State-Wisconsin game, I'm gonna keep an eye on it just because I could see a possibility where Wisconsin makes it ugly. They got the home field advantage. It's a Big Ten kind of a rivalry game. I mean, Big Ten games on the road for these top teams. You see a lot of them get ugly and then teams get caught. Just keep an eye out on it. That's all I'll say.
You know what I would be interested in? I don't have it in front of me, but I'm going to assume Wisconsin is getting around a touchdown or so at the half. I would be really interested in taking Wisconsin and the points going into halftime.
I could see it being close at around halftime. Ohio State would probably start to run away with it midway through the third quarter, but I can see that.
I feel like that's been the, synopsis on the season so far this year with
Well, their defense is just so smothering, but their offense isn't very good. So it usually takes them till the second half to really do something. I guess my biggest question is, do we think Wisconsin scores in the first half? If they do, they've got a really good chance of covering.
I guess a good bet would be the under on the first half.
Yeah, I like the under more than Wisconsin first half, I think.
I would think the under somewhere around 23.
I don't mind that.
Could be a little less.
Full game line is 46.5, so it'd probably be around that number.
It's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Typically, the line is easier to hit and predict in the first half than it is for the entire ball game. One of those reasons is you can't predict the end of a game. So depending on how the game script goes, someone could just be churning out the clock and killing it. But if it's competitive, they're going back and forth. They're calling timeouts or running out of bounds, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the under's been hitting much more in college football this year because of all the changes to the clock. I like the under in the first half, and you can't get it. But what I would love to do is be able to tease that, but they don't let you tease first half numbers. They only let you tease full game numbers. Tones, I know you got to jump off. See, we got your lock. We got your stupid underdog. Before you give us our one big thing, we're doing 4 tall boys every day, so we already got 2 of them. We're going to get your one big thing. My random question that no one's ever going to be privy to until they hear it. Tomorrow, NFL action. Your Bucks are off. Give me the one game you're locked into.
Yeah, the one game I'm locked into tomorrow for purposes of the NFC South will be Atlanta traveling to Tennessee. I'm interested to see Will Levis, how he looks out there. And it really intrigues me to hear Mike Vrabel talk about a 2-quarterback system, kind of like college football, right? They're going to sputter out Malik Willis. They're going to sputter out Will Levis. So I'm interested to see how Levis looks and if Malik Willis is growing at all since a disappointing rookie season. And I'm very interested to see how the Falcons combat their division lead in the NFC South, because if they do beat the Titans, they start getting a little comfortable up there. They then have a 1.5 game lead on the Bucks with the head-to-head victory over the Bucks. I think this is a big statement game for Atlanta, and at the same time, I think this is a big keep them alive game for the Titans to see how their season goes. If the Titans lose, Henry and others could be gone come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, remember, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. So there's.
I know. That's what I'm thinking too, sadly. But you never know. We'll see. Should be a good scrap.
I'm happy that they're going to give Levis a chance to play. Look, Willis is a disaster. You might as well give him an opportunity to play. And I don't hate the fact that they're going to share time, because it might be beneficial for the rookie to go out there on the field, whether he's successful or not in a drive, then come over on the sideline, talk to the coaches as he watches the next drive unfold. I think that's a much better way to try to develop a kid, because they need to see what they have, because they're obviously going to be drafting pretty high in the 2024 draft. And you need to know, all right, are we going after a quarterback, or do we think we can do something with Levis?
I really hope by what they mean by 2 QBs is we'll really just see Willis on like scrambling situations or wildcats where they want to run a little bit. That's what I'm hoping they mean by that.
I mean, if we're going to do that, let's just go with 3 quarterbacks and let Derrick Henry run the wildcat.
You might see that as well. You never know.
Malik,
I may be the minority here, but
I'm sorry. Do what?
I don't think Willis was that bad last week. I think he's got some potential. I mean, Like to me, it's how good has Levis looked to where they're willing to throw him in there after making him a healthy scratch all season.
Malik Willis has just been a disaster every time he gets in the game. I'm telling you,
I
man.
watched him last week. He was not a disaster. He looked like he had potential.
And I think the inactiveness.
But at the same token, they weren't preparing for him. And wait until you see a defensive front coming at him. He skips it across the ground. He throws into triple coverage. Your best bet with Malik Willis is this. You tell him, like we used to tell the kid that sucked at everything, go deep. Just go deep. Spread out wide, go deep. How deep? Just keep going, man.
We'll agree to disagree there. I think he's got a chance if they let him play a little bit.
All right. Well, he'll be available at the trade deadline if you want to send us to us. So
No, sorry. Like winning organizations don't do that.
Well, that's why we're coming your direction.
Yeah, we're not even touching. Like you're not getting anywhere close to Tua.
No, we would make that trade, and then he would have scrambled eggs.
I was just going to say.
The very next week, he's going to get banged on the head, and he'll be, I'm Batman.
And I mean, how you shouldn't want Dolphins quarterbacks. Didn't work out good for you the last time you took Tannehill.
Well, we'll take we give up a 7th round pick to have a starting quarterback for 4 years. That's not too shabby. We'll take Tua first. So we'll give you a 6th round pick this time. And we'll give you an aging running back in Derrick Henry. Let's go.
Talk about a Super Bowl.
Tones, what's your one big thing as you walk us off?
Yeah, one big thing in walk-off is won't see you guys before then. Hope everyone out there has a great Halloween. And we do, for better or for worse, we got some pigskin that night. We got Maction on. So whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, spend some of your pennies on college football. That's all I'll say.
Maction.
I'll be there next Tuesday, baby, at Northern Illinois. Not this Tuesday, but a week from
going to the game?
I'm going to a Maction game. Ravens store, Ball State, NIU, baby. Let's go.
Your girl, man, she just deserves a medal.
Oh, you're telling me stuff I don't know already. I hope she's not listening. Oh, man.
One thing's for sure, my friend. She loves you. If you're dragging her to Maction, she loves you, buddy. You don't have to question that.
Not to mention it'll be about 30 degrees. Other than that, it's going to be an incredible time, and looking forward to it, fellas.
And I'm pretty sure there won't be a Taylor Swift sighting at that one. So
maybe a knockoff version or something like that.
All right, brother. Have a good day. Good game.
See you, gents. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into some NFL. We've got week number. I always think that Philadelphia has the most obnoxious fans, and then a Miami fan speaks, and so I tend to forget the Miami fans are very obnoxious.
Philly fans are worse.
You're already smelling yourself saying you're going to the Super Bowl.
I was saying Derrick Henry would send us over.
Derrick Henry's not going to any Super Bowl ever. Just tell you that.
On Tennessee, that's for sure.
Unless he starts banging Taylor Swift, then maybe she'll invite him. The games of the weekend, Rams Cowboys, to me that is one of the big ones. Is this not strange that this is a 1:00 game and not a 4:00 game, considering it's Los Angeles playing the Cowboys? I would have thought that this would have been a 4:00 Fox game.
Maybe a time zone thing, but yeah, that would seem like a 4:00 game, especially with those markets. They don't want to put it on, the later slate.
Yeah, but I mean, Dallas is Central Time Zone, and they play on the 4:00 window all the time. So I don't think that's it. It's just odd to me. I think this can be one of the better games of the weekend.
That's fair.
I think it's because they already have Kansas City on like at the 4:00, and they have the Bengals 49ers as their marquee game.
Okay.
CBS must have the okay, that's what it is. CBS has the 4:00 games. The only 4:00 game on Fox, it starts at 4:05, and it's Browns Seahawks, and that's only because it's a regional coverage. If you're watching that game at 4:05, you got some issues. Unless you're a Titans fan that's already tuned over at 4:05 because your game is crapola. Rams are getting 6 points. I think this is a high spread. What say y'all?
Yeah, I can see the Cowboys routing them. The Rams aren't that good. I know they've put together some good games this year, but Stafford hasn't been looking too good. 7 touchdowns, 6 picks on the year. I'll pick them to cover just because it's the NFL, but
I always forget that you're just a hater when it comes to everyone in the NFC West. I'm always like,
I am, but I am approaching it in a fair manner. But yes, I do hate the Rams passionately.
Who is your biggest rival in that division? Is it the Rams?
It'd probably be the Seahawks if we're talking about rivalry. Team I hate the most is just whoever's the best in the NFC West. So right now the 49ers. But in terms of rivalry, I guess it'd be the Seahawks.
Steven, what is your biggest rival?
Growing up, it was always the Jets, but the Jets have just been so pathetic. It's almost not even a rivalry anymore. I'd say it's more the Bills now, honestly.
It is Buffalo? Okay. It's not the Patriots?
It wasn't a rivalry for so long because it was just the Patriots winning.
Well, let me put it this way. Patriots have a resurgence. They start winning next year. They're in the AFC Championship game against the Bills. Who are you pulling for?
I don't even think I would just turn the game off and just root for whoever wins the the NFC team.
Just hope they all have fun. Orange slices.
I honestly don't know who I would root for there.
I think my biggest rivalry, being a Titans fan, I think it's probably the Colts.
Mm-hmm. I was in that hypothetical scenario. I was in those shoes a couple years ago with the Rams 49ers NFC Championship. That was not fun.
Did you pull either way or?
No, I couldn't stand either team. I was probably pulling for the 49ers just because I thought the Rams had a better chance of winning the Super Bowl, and I just hated that Rams team so much. I don't think I've ever hated the NFL team as much as that one. So,
Doug,
they smoked us in the wild card. So,
Doug, the Raiders is what, the Chiefs probably?
Yeah, definitely throughout history, we've always had a deep, deep hatred for the Chiefs, followed by the Broncos, but pretty much the Chiefs. And over the years, it's gone back and forth. But the rivalry right now isn't even worth it. As bad as the Raiders are right now, it's not fun to watch the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl every year. I'll tell you that much. That's why, against my better judgment, I root for anybody who plays the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
That over-under of the 45.5 on the Rams-Cowboys is intriguing to me. Because it feels like a game that's going to be a little higher scoring than that. But here's the game that everybody's jumping on. Everybody's taking the money. Everybody's like, this is a bad line. And I'm just saying, this is the NFL. Be careful. Always bet the same amount on every bet. Don't jump in and go all in on one because you think you got it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings, a 1-point favorite at the Packers. Packers are terrible. Vikings have been looking better. But the Vikings are coming off a Monday Night Football game. I'm not saying that I would take the Packers to win. I'm steering clear of this game. But it feels like a game where all of a sudden you're going to wake up Monday morning and go, how the hell did the Packers beat them by 4 touchdowns? What the hell is this?
My thing is, I look at these two teams and they seem to be on different trajectories. The Packers and Jordan Love had a little bit of hope for them at the beginning of the year. They looked all right. Vikings, they started off horribly. And now it's starting to flip. I think the Vikings are going to go in there and get a win.
The best thing I like about Jordan Love is when I watch their games, I think to myself as a Titans fan, at least we didn't waste a number 1 pick and drive a Hall of Famer out of town over our quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a disaster Jordan Love has been.
Yeah.
But with that being said, he'll probably go out there and throw for 300 yards.
I don't see it happen. I don't see it happening.
I don't either.
They're starting to get it together. The Vikings are starting to get it together. They've been competitive lately. They've won some solid games. Give me the Vikings.
But this is your typical. Well, that's the NFL for you. This is your typical game.
I just don't want to bank on that. I know logic doesn't always prevail, but I'm going with it in this matchup.
That's
going into Monday night.
Packers, you don't even watch the game.
So going into like before Monday night's game, Packers were a 2.5 point favorite over the Vikings. I don't think that win over the Niners was impressive enough for it to be a 3-point swing. I still think the Packers +1 is even greater value for me now. And I think they win that game. It's
one of these things where, and it's been proven every single damn time, when a team plays a Monday night game and they go back to a Sunday afternoon tilt, the early Saturday afternoon tilt, they just seem to be groggy. It doesn't make sense to us because they're professionals. Why the hell wouldn't they just address what the issue is and get their head out of their ass and let's go? But it seems like that one less day of preparation affects them.
Throw in that division, like the not division game factor.
And it's a road game.
I was going to say, that's a division game. Any division game, I don't care how good or bad the other teams, you always have to put a certain amount of pause, whoever the underdog is.
It's
like
just
I said, Raiders Chiefs game just a few years ago, the Raiders actually beat them in a game. I was stunned by it, as bad as the team was. And you see that all the time. So
it's just like I really like Bobby's Stupid Underdog because it's the same logic.
Yeah.
It's a Philly team who just convincingly beat the Miami Dolphins on a Sunday night. Now, I know it's not Monday night, but it's still a night game. And they're going to go on the road in the division, give up 7 points. There's no way in hell I would touch that.
Yeah. And it's a Commanders team that's pulled off a lot of upsets in the last couple of years.
And if Ron Rivera would have went for 2 instead of kicking the extra point, he may have beaten Philly earlier this year in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Riverboat Ron my ass. That was the dumbest. I don't know.
Shock he still has a job.
Dumbest goddamn answer I've ever heard in my life was, well, why didn't you go for 2? Why did you kick the extra point? And his answer was, well, the team was really tired, so we didn't want to go. If they're tired, you go for 2, so the game is over no matter what.
If they're too tired to go for 2, you're not going to hold up in overtime.
That's like saying I couldn't really sleep last night, so I chugged myself a 5-hour energy drink. Like, what are we talking about? It's dumbfounding. Another game that won't make sense to people. Everyone's going to jump on Baltimore -10. They're in Arizona. I'm telling you right now, man, that line stinks because it feels like Baltimore should be favored by 2 touchdowns or more.
Best case scenario is we go in there and lose by a point in a competitive game.
They could pull the upset off. I mean, this is typical NFL. They had the big game against the Lions, looked great. They were at home. Now they're going across the country, smelling themselves.
Yeah, I don't want to win this game. I really don't want to win this game. I know it's possible, and this Cardinals team has been competitive for several weeks this year, but we're in prime position to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Just keep the losses coming.
I mean, to me, like you mentioned the Lions game last week. They had the Lions. They had London the week before, and then 2 division games before that in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I really do think this is the week that the Ravens fall to your demise, Bobby. Getting you some more wins.
It was fun having that number 2 pick for a week. It was cool.
Have faith.
Talk about a team smelling themselves. That it's going to be Baltimore this week.
You talk about 2 teams that just stink so bad that they're going to have to smell each other. Dude, we get Sunday night football is Bears and Chargers. What are they doing to us?
A 2-4 team is an 8.5 point favorite. That's crazy.
For the first time that I can remember in a long time, the World Series, and I think they made the right decision, decide we're not going to go up against the NFL Sunday Night Football game. So what typically would have been World Series game number 2 would be played tomorrow night. They typically start at Saturday, Sunday, taking Monday night off and gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, taking Friday and gone Saturday. This year, they went Friday, Saturday. Well, damn, they should have looked at the schedule and go, screw it, let's play, because who's watching Bears Chargers? I'm hoping I don't have a fantasy reason to watch it because I'm not even going to turn the damn thing on.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like that Thursday night game, Buffalo versus the Bucks. I did have Kincaid in a couple of leagues, so I just checked the score the next morning. I was, oh, sweet, he scored a touchdown. All right. Well, I didn't waste any time watching that crap. I mean, these are some bad games. Speaking of that, Doug, the Raiders are on Monday Night Football this week.
Yeah, and we get to embarrass ourselves again this week. And
you're not going to stick it.
I don't have words. I'm telling you right now. Put all your money. I'm not going to use the word luck, but put all your money. I don't care. Bet your grandkids on it. What Detroit's going to do to the Raiders this week, and not because I think Detroit's that great. It just I know for a fact that the Raiders are not going to play. They're going to come out there and they're going to lie down because
it is a bad spot because not only is it a road Monday night game, but Detroit's coming off an embarrassing loss.
Yeah. Well, if they do play like they did last week, if that's the Lions we see this week, then I give the Raiders a shot at least, but I don't expect that.
Because people don't realize the Raiders, he's lost that locker room. There are players in that locker room who have said, I'm not playing the rest of the season. It's just a job. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not going to injure myself with this man. So you're going to go out there and you see the Raiders they're not going to lift a finger. They're going to go out and go through the motions, and that's it. Because this team is on the verge of like out-and-out rebellion. They do not want to play for this man anymore. And that's offensive and defensive players alike.
I see some more Chandler Jones situations.
Yeah, they're on the verge. They're like, probably you guys don't remember, but back in the 80s, the New England Patriots had a coach named Raymond Berry. He was such a bad coach that the players on the team actually wrote a formal letter, went upstairs to ownership and said, we are not going back on the field until you fire that man. And I'm just telling you, the Raiders locker room is in the same spot that Berry was in 80, I think it was 85.
I was surprised McDaniels made it through last year. I did not think he'd keep his
Raymond
job.
Berry coached the Raiders?
No. Raymond Berry was the coach of the Patriots. That locker room, he lost that locker room so bad.
I didn't know he. Okay, I thought you were saying the Raiders.
I'm just saying that McDaniels has lost this locker room the exact same way Berry lost the Patriots back in the 80s.
Well, in Barry's defense, he was terrible in the booth, so he had to go do something other than that. He was god awful. I remember you get those games, man. That was Beth Mallon's spot. You're like, oh God, this is what it. No, I'm muting it. I don't give a damn. I'll watch the game and listen to NPR. I'm not doing this, man. I'm not doing it.
I tell you who sucks on commentary this year, Mark Sanchez. Awful.
I'll tell you who sucks on commentary every year in the NFL. Get Kirk Herbstreit out of that damn booth. It's terrible. You can tell he doesn't even want to be there. Mark Sanchez, I don't even know if I've heard him.
He's called a couple Cardinals games, and they've both been terrible. He is.
Yeah, I've had the displeasure of hearing that.
Awful.
Oh, what was the defensive back's name with the strange name that was so bad? Is he still doing broadcasts?
Aqib Talib. Oh, that was a disaster.
Aqib Talib. Is he still broadcasting?
Doubt it.
I think so. I mean, like last time I saw him, he was with Gus Johnson.
Wow.
Oh, that's not right.
Poor Gus.
It was an entertaining game.
You can't put the GOAT with Aqib Talib.
I guess it balances it out a little bit, you know.
No, it really doesn't. You need to put them with Beth Mallon's and just put them over in a corner. Y'all just sit over there and suck.
They could put that on the Monday night game.
Yeah.
Put that on the Monday night game. We just watch it on mute or just not watch it at all.
Or this Sunday night.
Yeah, either one.
I have much of a chance of listening to that. If you put those two in the booth, I'll listen to just as much of the game as if you had Howard Cosell in the booth right now, because I'm not watching that damn game. That game is awful.
I'm just doing homework on Sunday night.
Doug, before you walk off out of here, because we got to do our lineup of integrity as we end the show. We got your lock. We got your stupid underdog. My tall boy to you this week is Raiders Lions. The Raiders are getting 8 points. The over under is 46. Which number do you like better?
The 8 points.
Lions -8?
Yep.
So you think they've just absolutely packed it in?
I think they have everybody.
He's playing this week, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Isn't Jimmy G playing this week?
Last
I'm thinking so. It doesn't matter who they have.
Not much reason to have hope, though.
Doug has given up on the season. Get Doug.
Look, after what I saw them do with the Bears, I just was like, "This is just, I can't take this anymore."
To me, man, I saw that. I was like, "What is going on?"
I almost made this grown man cry, and I've been a Raiders
What is
fan.
your one big thing as you walk us off?
One big thing. Actually, I'm going to go to baseball. We got Game 2 of the World Series tonight. I was going to say just take I think the over-under is 8.5 points in the World Series game. And I'm going to be watching that tonight instead.
It's Jordan Montgomery versus Merrill Kelly tonight, right?
Yep.
That should be a good pitching matchup. So Wald spit the bit last night, but I still like Arizona. I tell you what, if you want to jump on something, take Arizona to win that damn series because the odds are going to be in your favor big time now. I still think that bullpen's better than Texas's bullpen, and in a 7-game series, the cracks are going to show.
I'm thinking too, but I was just loving just the sheer amount of points I think are going to be scored in this series.
All right, brother. We'll see you next week. Great job. Good luck to your Raiders.
They need it.
All right, we're gonna start doing these lineups as we finish off the shows. Easiest way to get this done. So, whose turn is it this week?
I believe it's mine.
It's Bobby's?
I think it's back around to me, yeah.
All right, Bobby, what you got?
So my stack that I'm going to go with, I'm going to spend a little big here, and I'm going to go out to the desert. Give me Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers, 8,100 and 5,600. I think this duo is going to connect a lot. Cardinals secondary is putrid. Cardinals defense overall. It's had some moments this year where it's looked good, but they've taken a turn for the worst over the last few weeks.
Lamar and who?
And Kyler's not back, so I don't think we're going to get much going on offense. And even if he was, I still think he'd have to knock the rust off. I know you guys have a little bit of confidence in the Cardinals. I think we're going to get routed, though.
Lamar and who?
Zay Flowers.
All right, Steven, what you got?
I mean, like we're definitely hedging our bets here, saying the Ravens are going to be a massive letdown, but then stacking them. But let's go. Let me go back to the other side of that game. Hollywood Brown getting his revenge on the Ravens. He should be somewhere in the between 5,000, 6,000, 5,200. Yep.
I like that, especially if we get down by a lot of points, we'll just be throwing the ball, playing catch up the whole game. If we start losing bad, I don't mind at all.
He has double-digit targets 4 out of 4 of the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
7 targets, I think, in almost every game this season.
He's been big.
That's what you want to target in DFS.
Yep.
This seems like a lay and egg week. Pittsburgh goes out there and shocks everybody, beats the Rams. They're going to come home and they're going to lay an egg. Lay an egg spot. Give me Travis Etienne. He's been highly involved in the offense. Give me Travis Etienne, $7,200. Bobby, what you got?
I'm going to go, let's see. Give me Kareem Hunt versus Seattle. I think they're going to lean on him, especially with Watson out this week. He had a good game last week, I believe. Give me Kareem Hunt. He's at 5,200.
Steven, what you got?
I'm still getting.
What?
I'm still looking. We got 46. Yeah, let's throw a defense in there. Let's just start at the bottom. Let me see what we got. Packers 2,700.
Packers at 2,700. Okay. I will go into, let's see, what do we have at top of the dish? Yeah. I mean, if we're going to go Lamar Jackson, screw it. Let's go ahead and get Mark Andrews in here. Hopefully he gets involved in this offense and we get some points. Hopefully we get a high-scoring game in this one. Bobby, where are you going on your wide receiver play?
I'm going to grab Adam Thielen at 6,600 versus Houston. I said it earlier in the show. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And Thielen has been lighting it up this year. He's been one of the best receivers in fantasy. I think he continues it this week, especially if they're playing from behind. Give me him at 6,600.
Yeah, I've got him in a few leagues, and honestly, I'm starting him over some much bigger names.
Oh, yeah. I have Metcalf and McLaurin both on my bench this week. I'm starting him. I
got
Thielen in a couple drafts and it's paid off.
What's that, Steven?
We don't have enough money to finish the build unless we just choose some random fourth stringer.
All right, well then I'll take that out and I'll find a much cheaper tight end. How about that? Let me see here. Let's go Jonnu Smith. Little revenge game, little revenge factor. 3,500. What the hell? It's going to be an ugly game. He might sneak into the end zone though. All right, so Steven, what you got?
Let's see. We got.
You got a flex at 5,900. You got Breece Hall, Kirk, Higgins, Ridley, Mixon, Addison, Madison, Pickens.
I want to go Ridley. I don't want to double up on Jaguars here. I don't think they're going to do that good this week. Ridley would be my play. I'm going to go. Just give me Breece Hall at 5,900.
Yes, good pick.
Like they're coming off a bye this week, right? The Jets.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they're playing New York, who's 22nd, who's given up, or who's 22nd against the fantasy running backs. So not good.
And I mean, it technically is a road game, but they're playing in their home stadium. So to me, I view that as a home field advantage. He's going to get the rock. Like that, he's their number one read on offense.
Yep.
I like the upside of Breece Hall.
All right, we go to walk this off with one big thing. My tall boy for you, Bobby, is Florida, Georgia. We've talked about the possibility of Florida pulling off the upset. If Florida wins this game, are they going to be in the SEC championship game?
No, I still think we'll have a letdown game somewhere later in the season. I think
we'd have the tiebreaker on Georgia.
What?
They'd have the tiebreaker on Georgia.
We'd have the tiebreaker on Georgia. I have a feeling we'll drop one more. I think we might have a letdown game next week if we come out here and shock Georgia. Just not confident in us running the table, especially because we got LSU coming up.
Steven, your Miami Marlins. I just want to know, have you heard any rumors as far as who's going to take over at the top?
Jesus, take the wheel for that franchise. That's all I got to say.
Wake you up when they relocate to Montreal? Is that what you're saying?
Man, they did her so dirty. Bruce Sherman is just
man. And in today's social climate, I'm really surprised that happened. You know, I'm surprised that doesn't scream of a lawsuit.
Oh, I mean, she had every single right to just be like, hell no, like get me out of here. Like,
I mean, she marks all the boxes to go, what the hell did you just do to me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just a lot of rumors are flying that she could end up taking over Boston.
Yeah, that's been the popular one. You know, I'm just who would want to come work for Miami at this point?
Man, I'll tell you what, I would just love to know what the thought process was, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to piss off the one good thing that we've got that's sending us in the right direction. I mean, she had that team competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a dumpster fire waiting to happen. What is your one big thing, Bobby, as we walk it off?
Keep an eye on Ohio State and Georgia, both of them this week. I know they're big favorites in both those games by a couple touchdowns, but I have them on upset watch. Any Big Ten game on the road for a top team, there's always reason for concern. If Wisconsin can make it ugly, who knows what could happen? And it's a big rivalry game, Georgia and Florida. Who knows what could happen there? Yeah, we'll see.
Steven, what's your one big thing?
We're getting another upset in the top 10 today. I really think it's going to be Oregon falling to Utah.
My one big thing, Cal Bears shock the Southern Cal Trojans, and we're really going to hear people talk about, which I hate this conversation, we're going to hear it more and more this week, should Caleb Williams sit the rest of the year? Which is just, it's an utter disgrace, and kudos to him so far for saying, hey, I'm here to compete, I want blah, blah, blah. And I think it would be a terrible idea. Am I drafting the number one guy overall if he's willing to quit on his team? I don't know, man. Kudos to him for saying he's going to play, but they're going to shock him and then it will unfold. Y'all have a great day. Good luck to your teams, unless you're a Hurricane or Gator fan, right?
Whatever.
Y'all have a good one.
This week, we are at the largest outdoor cocktail party in the world. Florida, Georgia, 3:30 Eastern on CBS, the big game. And we are going to make a Jacksonville favorite, shrimp and grits. Let's go. Okay, so we got yellow corn grits. We're going to pour this into a bowl real nice and easy. If you don't know how to make grits, Google it. I'm not going through that, by God. If you're in the South and you don't know how to make grits, you got issues. All right, you got the corn grits. Put a little butter in there. I don't season a whole lot because the shrimp is going to have the seasoning. You don't want to over-season. Okay, the shrimp we're going to add, and what we did here is you got the Holy Grail, which is, if you first time watching the show, it is salt, pepper, and garlic salt. We added a little bit of Old Bay seasoning, as you see right there, to give it that seafood flavor. And I also added just a little bit of Lowry salt, but it's just a dash across it. There you have it. You got the shrimp, you got the grits. We're going to sprinkle some cheese across it. The cheese should melt. Now, I did put some cheese inside the grits as well and melted it across, but this is just going to make it look a little better. A little bit of parsley over the top. And there you have shrimp and grits, Florida, Georgia. And this is known as the largest outdoor cocktail party in the world. I'm going to go grab me a beer.